As one of the most powerful skills you can develop in life is the ability to control your reactions rather than trying to control others. People will always act in ways that you may not agree with, and circumstances will not always align with your expectations. If you constantly allow yourself to be affected by the words and actions of others, you are essentially giving them control over your emotions. Instead, by shifting your focus inward and mastering your own reactions, you free yourself from unnecessary anger and frustration. At the heart of this idea is the understanding that external events are neutral. It is your interpretation and response that give them meaning. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One person is fuming, honking their horn, and complaining about how unfair it is. The other is listening to music, enjoying the moment, and staying calm. The traffic is the same, but their reactions are completely different. This shows that it's not the situation that causes anger, but how one chooses to react to it. When you try to control others, you set yourself up for disappointment. People are unpredictable, and no matter how much you wish they would behave in a certain way, they won't always meet your expectations. A coworker might be rude, a stranger might cut you off in traffic, or a friend might forget your birthday. If your happiness depends on people behaving exactly as you want, you will constantly feel frustrated. But if you accept that others are beyond your control and focus only on how you react, you take back your power. The key to mastering your reactions lies in developing self-awareness and emotional intelligence. When something upsets you, pause and ask yourself why you feel this way. Is it truly the other person's actions, or is it your interpretation of them? For example, if someone criticizes you, do you become angry because their words hurt, or is it because deep down you doubt yourself and their words trigger your insecurity? By identifying the root cause of your reaction, you can begin to change how you respond. Another essential practice is to create mental space between the event and your reaction. When something upsetting happens, don't react immediately. Take a breath, step back, and observe your emotions without letting them control you. This simple pause allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Over time, you will find that many things that used to anger or bother you no longer have the same effect because you have trained yourself to remain calm. Reframing situations is another powerful tool. Instead of seeing someone's behavior as a personal attack, try to view it from a different perspective. If a colleague is rude to you, consider that they might be having a bad day rather than assuming they dislike you. If someone cuts in line, recognize that they may be in a hurry for an important reason rather than taking it as an insult. By shifting your perspective, you prevent negative emotions from taking over. Letting go of the need for validation from others is also crucial. Many people get upset because they feel disrespected or unappreciated. But if you derive your self-worth from within rather than from the approval of others, you won't be easily affected by what people say or do. Confident people don't waste their energy trying to control others or prove themselves. They simply focus on being the best version of themselves. Practicing mindfulness and gratitude can further help you stay grounded. Mindfulness keeps you present, preventing you from dwelling on negative past interactions or worrying about future ones. Gratitude shifts your focus to the positive, reducing the weight of minor annoyances. When you appreciate what you have, small inconveniences lose their power over you. In the end, learning to control your reactions is a lifelong practice, but the rewards are immense. You gain peace of mind, emotional freedom, and the ability to navigate life with greater ease. When you stop letting others dictate your emotions, you become truly unshakable. Expectations are one of the biggest sources of frustration, disappointment, and anger in life. When you expect people to behave a certain way, situations to unfold in a specific manner, or life to go according to your plans, you set yourself up for unnecessary suffering. The reality is that life is unpredictable, and people have their own thoughts, emotions, and priorities that may not align with yours. The more you attach yourself to rigid expectations, the more you invite frustration into your life. The key to peace of mind is learning to detach from expectations and embrace reality as it is, rather than how you think it should be. Most people go through life with a subconscious list of expectations for others. They expect their friends to always be supportive, their family members to behave in a certain way, their coworkers to be respectful, and strangers to be considerate. While there is nothing wrong with hoping for these things, expecting them as guarantees is dangerous. The moment someone acts differently than you expect, you feel disappointed, angry, or even betrayed. But the truth is, people are not obligated to meet your expectations. They have their own perspectives, challenges, and ways of operating in the world. When you learn to accept people as they are instead of how you think they should be, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional turmoil. One common example is in relationships. Many people become frustrated when their partner doesn't behave exactly as they expect. They believe their partner should always express love in a particular way, always agree with them, or always prioritize their needs. When this doesn't happen, they feel hurt and assume something is wrong. But in reality, their partner is simply being themselves. Instead of trying to force someone into a mold of expectations, it is far more peaceful to appreciate them for who they are. This applies not just to romantic relationships, but also to friendships, family dynamics, and professional relationships. Another way expectations create suffering is through our desires for how life should unfold. People often expect that if they work hard, they will automatically be successful. They expect that if they are kind to others, they will be treated with kindness in return. While these are reasonable hopes, life does not always work in a straightforward cause and effect manner. Unexpected challenges arise, people act unpredictably, and things don't always go as planned. The more attached you are to a specific outcome, the more distress you feel when reality doesn't match your vision. Instead of resisting what is, you can cultivate a mindset of adaptability and acceptance. One way to detach from expectations is to focus on effort rather than outcome. Instead of expecting a guaranteed result, put your energy into doing your best and let go of the rest. For example, if you work hard at a job, focus on the satisfaction of doing your work well rather than expecting an immediate promotion. If you show kindness to others, do it because it aligns with your values, not because you expect gratitude or reciprocation. When you shift your focus from controlling outcomes to controlling your actions, you become less affected by external circumstances. It's also important to challenge the belief that people owe you certain behaviors. Many conflicts arise from the assumption that others should treat you in a specific way simply because you expect it. But people act based on their own experiences, beliefs, and priorities, not your expectations. Instead of resenting them for not meeting your standards, try to understand their perspective. Letting go of the idea that people must behave according to your script allows you to move through life with much greater ease. Practicing presence and mindfulness can also help reduce attachment to expectation. When you stay present in the moment rather than fixating on how things should be, you develop a greater sense of acceptance. Meditation, deep breathing, and journaling are useful tools for training your mind to stay in the present. Over time, this helps you become more adaptable, reducing frustration when things don't go as expected. Detaching from expectations does not mean you stop caring or that you never make plans. It simply means that you release the need for everything to go exactly as you envision. It means you can hope for the best but remain emotionally resilient when things don't unfold as planned. This mindset makes you more flexible, less reactive, and ultimately more at peace. When you no longer tie your happiness to how others behave or how life unfolds, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and gain the ability to navigate life with calmness and wisdom. Emotional detachment is one of the most powerful skills you can develop to maintain inner peace and avoid being negatively affected by the words and actions of others. It doesn't mean becoming cold, indifferent, or emotionless. Instead, it means learning to observe your emotions without letting them control you. It is the ability to stay calm, rational, and unbothered no matter what is happening around you. When you master emotional detachment, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering, making it nearly impossible for others to disturb your peace. Many people go through life reacting emotionally to everything around them. They get offended by small comments, irritated by other people's actions, and upset when things don't go their way. This constant emotional reactivity leads to stress, anger, and frustration. However, when you learn to detach emotionally, you no longer take things personally. You begin to see situations objectively instead of through the lens of your emotions. Someone's rude comment, for example, no longer has power over you because you understand that their behavior reflects their own state of mind, not your worth. One of the key aspects of emotional detachment is recognizing that you are not your emotion. Just because you feel anger, sadness, or frustration does not mean you have to act on those feelings. Emotions are temporary reactions, not commands that you must obey. When you observe your emotions rather than becoming consumed by them, you gain control over your responses. Instead of lashing out in anger when someone disrespects you, you can remain calm, and choose a more thoughtful response, or no response at all. This ability to pause and choose how to react is what gives emotionally detached people their power. Another important aspect of emotional detachment is understanding that most things in life are neutral. It is only our interpretation that makes them good or bad. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you might see it as a personal attack and get angry, or you might see it as a minor inconvenience and move on. The event itself is the same, but your reaction determines whether it disturbs your peace. By training yourself to see things without attaching personal meaning to them, you remove much of the emotional weight from daily interactions. Detaching from the opinions of others is also crucial. Many people suffer because they care too much about what others think. They feel anxious about being judged, criticized, or disliked. But when you realize that people's opinions are just their perspectives, shaped by their own biases, experiences, and emotions, you stop taking them so seriously. Someone's negative opinion of you does not define you. When you detach from the need for validation, you become emotionally independent and immune to external criticism. One way to strengthen emotional detachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches you to stay present and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you develop a greater awareness of your emotions and learn to let them pass without being consumed by them. Meditation, deep breathing, and journaling are powerful tools for cultivating this awareness. Over time, these practices train your mind to remain calm and steady, even in difficult situations. Another useful technique is reframing your perspective. When something bothers you, ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most of the things that upset us in the moment turn out to be insignificant in the long run. Learning to take a step back and see the bigger picture helps you detach emotionally and focus on what truly matters. Setting emotional boundaries is also essential. You do not have to engage with every negative person or situation. If someone is constantly bringing negativity into your life, you have the right to distance yourself from them. Protecting your mental and emotional energy is not selfish. It is necessary for your well-being. Emotionally detached people understand that they do not have to participate in every argument, respond to every insult, or entertain every drama. They choose their battles wisely and invest their energy only in what serves them. Practicing emotional detachment does not mean suppressing your emotions or avoiding deep connections. It means developing the ability to engage with life without being controlled by your emotions. It allows you to experience love, joy, and passion without becoming overly attached to specific outcomes. You can care deeply about people while still maintaining your inner peace. When you master emotional detachment, you become unshakable. No one can easily offend you, manipulate you, or disrupt your state of mind. You move through life with confidence, resilience, and a sense of calm that others admire. While the world around you remains chaotic, you remain centered. This is the ultimate freedom, to live without being ruled by external circumstances or the emotions they trigger. Unshakable confidence is one of the most powerful qualities you can develop to ensure that no one can anger or bother you. When you are truly confident, external negativity, criticism, and setbacks lose their power over you. You no longer seek validation from others, nor do you allow their opinions to dictate your emotion. Instead, you stand firm in your own worth, unaffected by external influences. Developing this level of confidence is a process, but once achieved, it transforms the way you interact with the world. True confidence comes from within. Many people mistakenly believe that confidence is something external, that it comes from wealth, status, physical appearance, or social approval. However, these things are temporary and unreliable. If your confidence is based on external factors, it will crumble the moment those things change. Real confidence, on the other hand, is internal. It comes from knowing who you are, trusting yourself, and embracing both your strengths and weaknesses. When you no longer rely on outside validation, no amount of criticism or negativity can shake you. One of the first steps in developing unshakable confidence is self-acceptance. Many people struggle with self-doubt because they focus too much on their flaws and weaknesses. They constantly compare themselves to others, believing they are not good enough. But confidence does not come from being perfect. It comes from embracing yourself fully, flaws and all. No one is perfect, and those who appear to be are simply more skilled at owning their imperfections. When you accept yourself as you are, you become immune to the judgments of others because you no longer seek their approval. Another key to confidence is developing a strong sense of self-identity. People who lack confidence often feel lost because they do not truly know themselves. They change their opinions based on what others think, follow trends to fit in, and seek external validation to feel worthy. To build unshakable confidence, you must know what you stand for. What are your values? What do you believe in? What are your passions? When you have a clear sense of identity, you stop worrying about how others perceive you because you are secure in your own beliefs and choices. Taking control of your thoughts is another essential aspect of confidence. The way you talk to yourself shapes your self-perception. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, that you will fail, or that others are better than you, your mind will believe it. Confidence starts with positive self-talk. Replace self-doubt with self-empowerment. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," tell yourself, "I am capable and constantly improving." Instead of fearing failure, remind yourself that every failure is a lesson that brings you closer to success. Your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it, so choose thoughts that build you up rather than tear you down. Taking action is another powerful way to develop confidence. Many people wait until they feel confident before taking action, but the truth is that confidence is built through action. Every time you step out of your comfort zone and face a challenge, you prove to yourself that you are capable. The more you push yourself to try new things, the more confident you become. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, starting a new hobby, or setting boundaries in relationships, every small act of courage strengthens your confidence. Handling criticism effectively is another crucial part of unshakable confidence. Confident people do not allow negative opinions to define them. They understand that criticism is often a reflection of the other person's insecurities rather than an accurate judgment of their worth. Instead of taking criticism personally, they evaluate it objectively. If the criticism is constructive, they use it as a tool for growth. If it is baseless, they dismiss it without letting it affect their self-esteem. When you develop this mindset, no one's words can shake your confidence. Surrounding yourself with the right people also plays a significant role in confidence. If you constantly spend time with negative or judgmental individuals, their energy will impact your self-perception. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with supportive, ambitious, and positive people, their confidence will inspire you to develop your own. Choose to be around those who uplift you rather than those who bring you down. Taking care of your body and mind also contributes to confidence. When you feel physically strong, healthy, and well-groomed, you naturally feel more confident. Exercise, a good diet, and proper self-care all play a role in how you perceive yourself. Mental well-being is just as important. Practicing mindfulness, meditation, or journaling can help you maintain a clear and confident mindset. Ultimately, unshakable confidence is about trusting yourself, embracing your individuality, and refusing to let external circumstances dictate your worth. When you reach this level of confidence, you become untouchable. No criticism, failure, or negativity can shake your inner stability. You walk through life with certainty, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle. This is the foundation of true emotional freedom, allowing you to move through the world without fear, doubt, or unnecessary frustration. One of the most powerful ways to avoid getting angry or bothered by others is to shift your perspective. The way you see a situation determines how you feel about it, and your emotions dictate how you react. If you see the world through a lens of frustration, judgment, and negativity, you will constantly find reasons to be upset. However, if you choose to view situations differently through a mindset of understanding, patience, and neutrality, you will notice that things that once irritated you no longer hold power over you. Shifting your perspective is a skill that allows you to remain calm, rational, and emotionally unshakable, no matter what happens around you. One of the first steps in shifting your perspective is recognizing that most of what people do has nothing to do with you. When someone is rude, disrespectful, or inconsiderate, it is easy to take it personally. You might think, why are they treating me this way? Or what did I do to deserve this? But in reality, their behavior is a reflection of their own emotions, struggles, and mindset. A person who lashes out at you is often dealing with their own frustrations, stress, or insecurities. Instead of assuming that they are attacking you personally, consider the possibility that they are simply projecting their inner turmoil onto others. When you view situations this way, it becomes much easier to remain calm and avoid getting emotionally involved. Another powerful perspective shift is to stop expecting people to act the way you want them to. Many people become upset because they expect others to be kind, respectful, or considerate, and when they aren't, it leads to frustration. But the reality is that you cannot control how others behave, you can only control how you respond. Instead of expecting people to meet your standards, accept that everyone has their own way of thinking and behaving. Some people are kind, some are selfish, and some are simply unaware of how their actions affect others. When you stop expecting people to be a certain way, you free yourself from the disappointment and anger that come from unmet expectations. Reframing situations is another key aspect of shifting your perspective. Instead of immediately labeling an event as bad or negative, take a moment to consider whether there might be a hidden benefit or lesson in it. For example, if you get stuck in traffic, instead of viewing it as an annoyance, you can see it as an opportunity to listen to your favorite music or an audiobook. If someone criticizes you, instead of taking it as an attack, you can see it as a chance to learn and grow. When you reframe challenges as opportunities, you develop a more positive and resilient mindset. Practicing empathy can also help you shift your perspective and reduce frustration. When someone behaves in a way that upsets you, try to put yourself in their shoes. Ask yourself, what might this person be going through, or what would cause someone to act this way? This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior, but it does mean understanding that people act based on their own experiences, fears, and emotions. The person who cuts you off in traffic might be rushing to the hospital. The rude cashier might be dealing with personal struggles. The friend who cancels plans might be struggling with something they haven't shared with you. When you choose empathy over judgment, it becomes much harder to feel angry or annoyed at others. Another important perspective shift is to realize that nothing is permanent. Many people get upset because they focus too much on temporary problems, believing that they will last forever. But in reality, most of the things that bother you today will not matter in a week, a month, or a year. Think about past situations that once made you upset. How many of them still affect you now? Probably very few. By reminding yourself that everything is temporary, you reduce the emotional weight of minor annoyances and setbacks. This allows you to move through life with greater ease and peace of mind. Letting go of the need to be right is another way to shift your perspective and avoid unnecessary anger. Many conflicts arise because people feel the need to prove themselves, defend their opinions, or win arguments. But in the grand scheme of life, is being right always worth the stress? Often letting go of small disagreements and choosing peace over ego is the best choice. Instead of wasting energy trying to convince others that you are right, ask yourself, is this really worth my peace? When you prioritize inner peace over unnecessary arguments, you find that life becomes much more enjoyable. Practicing gratitude is another simple but effective way to shift your perspective. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, it becomes much harder to be bothered by minor inconveniences. If you wake up each morning and remind yourself of the things you are grateful for, your health, your loved ones, your opportunities, you naturally develop a more positive outlook. Small irritations lose their power when you realize how much you have to appreciate in life. At the core of shifting your perspective is the realization that you always have a choice in how you interpret situations. You can choose to see negativity, or you can choose to focus on understanding, learning, and growth. You can choose frustration, or you can choose peace. By actively training your mind to look at situations differently, you become someone who is no longer easily angered or bothered. Instead, you become someone who moves through life with a sense of calm, resilience, and emotional freedom. Practicing mindfulness and gratitude is one of the most effective ways to stop being easily angered or bothered by others. These two practices shift your focus away from negativity and external irritations, helping you cultivate inner peace and emotional resilience. Instead of reacting impulsively to situations that frustrate you, mindfulness allows you to observe your emotions calmly, while gratitude shifts your attention to what is good in your life. Together, these practices create a mindset that makes it difficult for external events or people to disturb your peace. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment. Most people live on autopilot, constantly thinking about the past or worrying about the future. This mental habit keeps them stuck in cycles of stress, anxiety, and frustration. When someone says something rude, they immediately react without thinking. When a situation doesn't go as planned, they let their emotions take over. However, mindfulness teaches you to step back and observe what is happening without immediately reacting. Instead of feeling anger rise and acting on it, you become aware of the feeling, acknowledge it, and let it pass without letting it control your behavior. One of the key benefits of mindfulness is that it helps you break free from impulsive emotional reactions. When you are mindful, you don't immediately label things as good or bad. Instead, you simply observe them. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of instantly feeling defensive or insulted, you take a moment to breathe and analyze the situation. Is their criticism valid? Are they projecting their own insecurities onto you? Do you even need to react at all? Mindfulness creates space between the event and your reaction, giving you the power to choose a calm and rational response rather than an emotional one. Mindfulness also teaches you to accept life as it is rather than resisting what you cannot change. Many people become frustrated because they expect life to be different from reality. They expect people to always be kind, situations to always go smoothly, and problems to never arise. When reality doesn't match these expectations, they feel disappointed and irritated. But when you practice mindfulness, you learn to accept each moment as it comes without resistance. If you get stuck in traffic, you accept it rather than getting angry. If someone is rude, you acknowledge their behavior but don't let it ruin your mood. This acceptance brings a deep sense of peace, making it much harder for anything to disturb you. A great way to develop mindfulness is through meditation. Even just a few minutes of meditation each day can train your mind to stay present and calm. During meditation, you practice focusing on your breath, bodily sensations, or surroundings, which helps you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions throughout the day. Over time, you begin to notice when your mind starts to spiral into negativity, allowing you to bring it back to the present moment. Mindful breathing is another simple but effective technique. Whenever you feel irritated, take a slow, deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale. This small pause helps reset your emotional state and prevents you from reacting impulsively. While mindfulness helps you remain present and calm, gratitude shifts your focus toward the positive aspects of life. Many people get easily irritated because they focus on what is wrong, what they lack, what went wrong, or what someone else did to annoy them. Gratitude reverses this mindset by directing your attention to what is right. When you make a habit of appreciating the good in your life, small annoyances lose their power over you. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It simply means choosing to focus more on what you have rather than what you lack. When you start your day by thinking about 3 things you are grateful for, you train your mind to look for positivity. Instead of dwelling on frustrations, you begin to notice the good around you, your health, your loved ones, your opportunities, or even simple pleasures like a warm cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. The more you practice gratitude, the more your perspective shifts, making you naturally more content and less reactive to negativity. One effective way to cultivate gratitude is by keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, write down a few things you are thankful for, no matter how big or small. This habit rewires your brain to focus on the positive aspects of life. Another practice is expressing gratitude directly to others. When someone does something kind, acknowledge it and thank them. Not only does this strengthen relationships, but it also reinforces a mindset of appreciation rather than entitlement. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is learning to see challenges as opportunities. Instead of resenting difficulties, view them as lessons or stepping stones to growth. A difficult boss can teach patience, a failed project can teach resilience, and an argument can teach better communication. When you start to appreciate even the tough moments, you remove much of the frustration that comes with them. Practicing both mindfulness and gratitude together creates a powerful shift in the way you experience life. Mindfulness keeps you present and calm, preventing emotional reactions, while gratitude fills your mind with appreciation, reducing negativity. When you develop these habits, you become naturally resistant to anger, irritation, and frustration. The world around you may still be chaotic and people may still behave in ways you dislike, but your inner world remains unshaken. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, you take charge of your emotions, allowing you to move through life with peace, resilience, and joy.